And we should be live in 3, 2, 1. What's up, crypto legends? How is everybody doing today? Today I have a special guest. His name is 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕. Here we go. We have him here on the stream. And he is going to tell us a little bit about himself. When did he start technical analysis? When did he start in crypto? He is actually a coach in the Legends trading community. And I'll explain why in the next coming minutes. Anyway, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, how are you doing? Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm doing super fantastic. Thanks, Andy, for having me here. I, like most, heard about Bitcoin during 2011 and 12. Didn't pay much attention to it, but finally bought a couple of Bitcoins and some Ethereums during 2017, purely from a spot perspective. And during those days, it was still difficult to buy Bitcoin. There wasn't a lot of platforms, but only really started trading seriously during COVID. When COVID hit, you sit at home, you're bored. What is this trading thing? What is technical analysis? What are Fibonacci's? And that's where I took trading seriously and started trading the charts. And made a lot of money during the bull market. And like most, also lost a lot of money, I suppose. And your initiation into the crypto market is you have to either be scammed and lose a lot of money or both. And both happened to me. And finally, I said, well, I need to learn how to take my money back from the market, and really learned a lot about trading during the bear market. And about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I resigned from my full 9 to 5, and I've been doing trading full time. So I've managed to bed down the risk management aspect.
Absolutely wonderful. So from about 2020, right? Full-time trader. Since 2020.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. Similar to me, I was kind of getting full-time in 2019. Had a few mistakes, obviously, in my journey because I started in 2017 with the technical analysis. So 2018 was hard. 2019 was getting really good. A couple of mistakes, but then 2020 also full-time trader and obviously making great gains. Now, I'm going to explain to the viewers that we've been talking during 2023. You joined the Discord. You joined, basically you were following me as well. And we were chatting, during several months in 2023. And I remember you sharing with me almost every single day analysis on Bitcoin, altcoins, predictions. And, I got to say, I was fascinated because of that, because it was every single day analysis. I'm thinking, this guy knows what he's talking about. Hey, how about you joining the Legends trading community to be a coach? And that was, how you started off with being a coach in the Legends community, which the people are very, very happy, of course. And 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, going straight into the meat and potatoes, as I would say. We know who you are. When you started. What do you think what is happening right now? What macro view do you have with Bitcoin? Because this is a technical analysis channel. People like technical analysis. What do you see for Bitcoin coming during 2024?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned in this game is that when you start leaning bearish or you start leaning bullish, the market will surprise you every single time. So what I've done is I've got some Elliott wave scenarios that I keep an eye on, and there's always a bullish and a bearish scenario. And depending on whether it hits my invalidation points, I will then flip bullish or bearish. Because, you want to buy the fear and you want to sell the greed. And, the top way that we've made with the ETF news was definitely one of those sell the news events. And I do see two scenarios. And I think one scenario everyone will hate me for because you don't want to see it. But we have to be prepared. And then one of the more bullish scenarios is most probably at the moment, as we stand today, based on data that we have and the news, is most likely the scenario that's going to play out. But I mean, no one knew when COVID hit. When COVID hit, brought the world to a standstill and the markets collapsed, and that was a great buying opportunity. So we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Exactly. Well, if you have something that you've been analyzing during the last few days, You know, I think
Yes.
my community would absolutely love to see your technical analysis, your point of view, bearish case scenario and bullish case scenario, and then your honest opinion on what you think is going to play out more, the bullish one or the bearish one, right? We need that tension because there's always a favorite scenario, right? Whether there is a bearish or a bullish one, right? I have sometimes, you know, more favorite ones, and the bullish one plays out instead of the bearish, but it, you know, at the end of the day, we do analysis. So if you want, share the chart. And let's go here with, you know, your macro scenarios so the community knows what is your analysis.
Okay, can you see my screen, Andy?
Yep.
Perfect. So first question that I always get, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬, why is your candles green and purple? Okay, so let's just get that out the way. And if you go watch my channel, you'll see I like green and purple. Is because as humans, from a psychology perspective, we are programmed that red is bad and it's dangerous. It means stop. It means don't enter. It's blood. It's death. You know, it has such negative connotations to it. So I purely just changed my red to purple, which is one of my favorite colors, and it presents opportunity to me. So whether we're going up or whether we're going down, it's an opportunity, and I don't get fearful when I see red candles. So now that that's out the way.
That is amazing. Yeah, pure color psychology. You need to get that on investing. You know, crack on. Yeah, good job. I like that. I'm going to change my colors now on the chart.
So looking at this structure, I mean, we made the ultimate low here during 9 November 2022, and then we've basically been in a nice little uptrend to the upside. So without going into too much Elliott wave theory and rules and how it all fits together and the micro counts, you know, we will be here for 2 or 3 or 4 hours if I have to go into those detailed scenarios. But the one thing that I'm looking at is to say, what if this is, and let's start perhaps with a bullish scenario, because, you know, that will get people excited, is to say that, well, what if this is a 1, 2, and this is a 3, we're going to still make a 4 and a 5 to the upside, okay?
Yeah.
So this is definitely the one scenario that I'm looking at, is to say that, well, is this the top of 3 where we are now coming down to make a corrective structure for the wave, for the 4th wave? Okay. And there's a couple of invalidations that I'll go through now, is to say that, well, this looks like the bullish structure. So let me switch on some trend lines, is to say that, well, then when you take your basic trend, this trend over here, and maybe let me make it a different color so that everyone can follow. The red trend, you want to see us come back to the red trend and then bounce to go and make a 5th wave to the upside. The one drawback about the scenario that I don't like is the 5th wave doesn't really go high compared to the $100,000 to $250,000 level that everyone is expecting. Okay, still bullish, but not as bullish. So let's stick with this scenario for now, is to say that, well, what if this is the scenario? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside. So then when I zoom into this structure over here, okay, I've got some scenarios prepared, is to say, I know that looks a little bit messy, but I'm going to explain it in detail right now. Okay, is to say that, well, what if, let me just redo this. Okay, I just want to zoom in.
Yeah.
And let's go through it step by step. Okay, so now I'm counting this structure to the upside, which we now anticipate is the 3rd wave, this green 3rd wave that I've drawn over here. Okay. And each wave, as everyone knows, basic Elliott rule theory is to say that you have 5 waves inside of each wave. So what if this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And regardless of how you count the stuff in between, this is the start, that's the end of the wave. Okay. Now we need to make a 4th wave to the downside. And how you typically work that out is you take a fib from 2, okay, to the top of 3. And ideally, you do not want to see us hit this, the 618 level, okay, for us to continue to have bullish momentum to the upside and go and complete the 5th wave. It's almost like a 98% probability that for impulses to remain to the upside, the 4th wave should not hit the 618. It likes the targets of the 236, the 382, and the 50% fib level, which is then in alignment or in confluence with this trend that I've got over here, okay, where I've basically connected these little pivots, Okay, so perhaps one scenario that I am watching is to say that we come down and we hit this level for then continuation to the upside to complete the fifth wave. Okay. Taking the scribble out.
I like it. I just
is,
need to interrupt you there 1 second, because that 37,700 range where you do have that 50% Fibonacci is where we have a lot of confluence based on weekly naked point of control. There is a daily level as well at that area. And as you pointing this out, you know, this adds confluence for the possibility of, you know, if we were to dip down to that 37,700, it could actually hold based on Elliott wave theory, also on other confluence throughout added to the chart. So spot on. I like it.
Okay. The other scenario that I'm then keeping in mind is, and this is actually a more bullish scenario, is to say that, well, if we had to come down here and we don't find support, perhaps we make a lower high and we come crashing down to the red trend. This actually becomes more bullish. And the reason why I say that is that I'm not sure if anyone has heard, in Elliott wave theory, they call it a 1-1-2 combo. Okay, this is the most bullish scenario that I have in my pocket, where if you then zoom in, let's go here onto the 12-hour and just switch off some of the noise, is to say that, take the pen out, looking at this structure, it's not like this anymore, where now you basically have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and this 3 can be extremely explosive up until the $100,000 level. This is what they call a super cycle. So from a macro perspective, we could be entering a super cycle if we had to come back down lower, because you are invalidating the fifth wave and you are validating that this is a 1-1-2 combo to the upside for then us potentially hitting $100,000, $250,000 levels. And I mean, yeah, it just becomes crazy. And once we have a little bit more data in terms of where the fourth wave is going to end, we can then work out the probabilities. Are we going to go and claim these levels above? Because then when you start taking fib expansions from the bottom to the top, and you drag it to wherever that low is, you can see that a minimum target for a third wave is $84,000. But because it's a 1-1-2 combo, you could see us explode even to the 3-6. You know, the third wave loves the 618 targets.
Yeah.
618, 618, 618, 618. Okay. This little move up that we had over here hit the 5.618. Okay, so we could go as high as $218,000. That is the most bullish scenario that I have in my pocket.
People are going to love that. We are going to love that if Bitcoin hits that level. We'll be all rich.
So it's all about observing the price reaction, what's going to happen over here. And perhaps for now, it is as simple as you have a deep A, B, C. Where is C going to end? Is C going to be a flat? Is it going to break the 618? And, you know, it's still a lot of time and a couple of months that needs to pass before we'll have more clarity in terms of where we are going to bounce. So I know everyone wants Bitcoin to go up, but I almost want to say that the deeper we correct, the better for Bitcoin. Okay. Ideally, not surpassing this trend. You know, you can have those little fake outs to the downside. You are still in a higher structure. So even if we come here, still higher low for macro continuation to the upside. Right.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. What do you think about, you know, the halving? Do you think it's going to have an effect like immediate or midterm, months after the halving? You know, because when we do take a look at the previous cycles from Bitcoin, always after the halving, whether that is 4-6 months after the halving, that is when the price starts to get close to the all-time high and then starts going parabolic. Do you reckon that we're going to see something similar from previous cycles? Because there is a lot of mixed sentiment, you know, right now with, we've got the GPT selling pressure. We have possible recession coming, maybe not this year, but maybe entering into 2025. There's a lot of mixed sentiment, of course. I want your personal opinion, also talking about the bearish case scenario on the macro, on the analysis that I guess you're going to share with us in the next coming minutes. But your opinion on that, halving, are we going to repeat like previous cycles? Or do you have, that kind of bearish sentiment, macroeconomic wise?
I guess the easy answer is when we went through this bear market, everyone was comparing it to the 2017 and the 2020 bear market and trying to draw similarities. And although it rhymed, it was the worst bear market that we've experienced. It lasted longer and we broke some moving averages on a weekly time frame, the 200-day moving average. We stayed below it for so long. So perhaps, I think because Bitcoin and crypto is becoming mainstream and more people know about it, when everyone says we are going to have an explosion in April when the halving takes place, chances are we most probably still going to be correcting before that happens. The market is here to surprise us. So for me, I don't personally, and I can be wrong, we're all here to be proven wrong. And at the end of the day, as traders, we trade level to level, regardless of how you feel. And the sentiment is that I don't see us, the halving starts tomorrow, and now you go and sell your house and you buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example. It's not a wise thing to do, because we could still see a deeper correction. I mean, a simple, and I'm not working it out perfect, but if I literally say, let's make an A, B, C to the downside, this already takes us to May 24, potentially. May 24. And then you're going to consolidate and you're going to scare people. We're going back to $10,000, $15,000. Oh, what's happening? And then by June, July, potentially you will start getting the momentum to the upside. So it's not for me as clean cut is April, we're going up. I think a healthy correction is needed to build up the momentum. And also considering, stupid things like the ETFs got launched on BlackRock and ARK Investment. Do you really want these people to buy at the highest prices possible, or are these massive organizations going to sink the price down a little bit so that everyone can benefit from the potential bull run? I haven't seen that fear, buying up the fear as yet, and perhaps that will come in March, April, where the correction is going to happen, and yet perhaps in May the consolidation, for June and July the momentum to the upside.
I totally agree. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we do see the price dropping into the halving and even slightly after the halving, we need to think that, hey, these ETFs have been approved. There are whales there that will be scooping up all of that Bitcoin, whether that it's at $35,000, $30,000, $25,000, right? We need to, actually understand that the ETFs have been approved. These, we cannot fear the drops. It doesn't matter if it goes to 30,000, 25 or 20,000. These people are going to be buying because, once Bitcoin does reach $100,000 in the next coming years, they will have that cheap Bitcoin that they bought, down at 30K, down at 20K, if we were to go all the way down there. So I think any dips, from now on, moving forward in the coming months, is just going to get a really good average entry price, because no doubt, that 100K is very much going to happen basically in the coming years, right? So your bearish case scenario, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬, on the macro,
bearish case scenario.
The most bearish case scenario, realistic. Don't say that Bitcoin's going to go to zero, because we know that that's not going to happen. Well,
if it does go to zero, I will say what you said last night. I will sell my heart and die for Bitcoin.
Exactly. So yeah, what would be the kind of most bearish case scenario? And after your bearish case scenario on the higher time frames, I'm going to jump to the comment section, because we are, we've got some comments coming in. We're going to share some love to the community as well. And before we continue with the bearish case scenario, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, going to cut you off here just for 2 seconds. Guys, if you want to check out 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, doing analysis every single day. You have his channel down below in the description, okay? It's the first link to his channel, and he shares every single day analysis. Had to be said, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, because you've been sharing analysis with me, during almost entire 2023, also in the Legends community. And the value is there. And I know a lot of people come here for value. Guys, if you want more value on technical analysis and trading tips, go and check out 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕. He has the link down below in the description, okay? 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, back to you with the macro bearish case scenario that's going to take Bitcoin to zero. Well, not to zero, maybe to 10K, 15K. Don't know. Let us know.
Let's see. Let's work it out. Okay. The bearish case scenario is, and I just want to make it clear, all the Elliott wave scenarios that I'm sharing all have flaws to them, and something not balancing perfectly. It doesn't gel with the Elliott wave rules. At the end of the day, you try and stick to the one that's breaking the least amount of rules. And what's scaring me at the moment is that the bearish case scenario is the scenario that is respecting the rules of Elliott wave theory the most. Okay, let me just put that out there. I'm not saying I'm bearish and we are going to play out this scenario. I am truly hoping for the bullish scenario, and we will trade those levels when we get there. But let's go through it. Okay, and it is as simple as A, B, C. Okay. So this is basically a corrective structure to the upside. We have reached the peak, and we are going to come tumbling, start making impulses to the downside, where you could see something like this, where this is the start of one. Depending on how deep this one goes, let's say that's one, you make a second wave, you make a third wave, fourth, fifth. You correct again to the upside. So the problem with the scenario is that you are making impulses to the downside, and impulses has higher momentum than corrective structures. You know this, Andy, you have your 5 impulses and you have your 3-wave corrective structures. Is that this can go very low. And I mean, we can try and work out the levels, but it's highly speculative at the moment, is to say that, well, you at least need a wave 1 to work out where the rest of the waves can take you.
Yeah.
But the one thing that scares me about the scenario is to say that, okay, well, how do you calculate a B wave? You take your fib extension from the bottom of A to the top of A, you drag it across, you reverse it, and we did not really hit, because this is the only thing that doesn't really make sense. We didn't hit a common B wave target.
Yeah, I like
which
the
is
minimum
generally
requirement.
Minimum requirement, but also when you take a fib, this is B expansive targets. Normal B targets are still in line. Is to take a fib from the let me work this out. If this is a 1, 2, 3. Okay. So inside of this range, you still have targets that you could hit, and we did actually cross the one. We actually dipped below, which is called the 0.05 fib level. So it's a valid B wave target. Okay, 0.05. We and this didn't actually happen on all exchanges. In some exchanges, we tapped the 0.88, which is also considered a B wave target. Okay, cool. That's the one thing that I'm testing. I'm testing to see if the levels balance. Then did the C wave hit the target? You take your fib expansion again from the bottom of A to the top. You drag it down. You reverse it. And what are common C wave targets? Common C wave targets are okay, let me just drag this a little bit further.
1.236, yeah.
1.236, 1.382. Okay. The 1.618 is a C wave target, but it's more commonly a third wave target. So if this is a third wave to the upside, we didn't hit a common third wave target. That's one problem with the bullish scenario, for example, where we've hit common C wave targets. Okay. So this could potentially be then, okay, well, this structure makes sense from a corrective perspective, and now we can start making impulses to the downside, where you take your fib expansion, depending on where one's going to end. Let's say we make another low here, and then we come up and you can see that the 618 then starts hitting the $30,000 level, okay, for your third wave. And then your fourth wave somewhere up here, and perhaps your fifth wave just grabs the liquidity of 3. You make an A, B, C to the upside, retest the scene of the crime, which is this trend line, and you build impulses to the downside. So I do not want to speculate how low this can go, but it doesn't look good from a corrective perspective. You want to see impulses to the upside. So from a bullish perspective, you know, your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 looks better, but we just have to consider that this scenario could play out. Maybe there's a COVID-2 that breaks out in a month from now. Who knows? But this is basically the bearish scenario that I have on the cards.
Yes, you know, zooming out on the macro, even looking at the 21-22 price action, you know, this would be kind of a much larger bear market than expected from the previous cycles, right? This was, you know, because this in timing could actually extend to, you know, even late 2025, right? If you know, basically it is going to take longer than previous cycles if we were to see, you know, these new impulsive waves to the downside, right? If we were to see this as an ABC to the upside here, that's happened during December till basically, you know, basically 1 year of price action to the upside. So, you know, will it take another year to actually move to the downside to reach the, you know, the bearish targets? Because, you know, if you want, I'll share my chart as well here, and then I'll go through the comment section. I'll just go here a little bit with my opinion as well. But it's just that I'm worried about, you know, recession kicking in, C19, you know, 2.0 kind of event, and getting into a much bearish case scenario. And, you know, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's just some things that we need to take into consideration. So it's basically, if we are seeing this as an ABC corrective move, right? Right over here, like you were sharing, which I did analyze as well. I mean, I'm no Elliott wave expert, you know, but I like to analyze the situation with the waves, of course, as well. I do know the basics, and I, you know, more advanced stuff, but looking as well as this as, you know, 5 waves to the downside as well, right over here, you know. And what I am personally worried about, that, you know, Bitcoin has been in a multi, you know, massive 5-wave structure to the upside during the last over 10 years. And could we enter the extreme bearish case scenario? And I mean, that there is this massive ABC corrective move, right? In an extreme macro situation, right, where you will be seeing, you know, that C wave to the downside starting from now, bringing you 5 waves to the downside here, you know, entering even to 2024, right? 2025, sorry, that could bring the price all the way down to $10,000. You know, is this a possibility? Well, maybe not $10,000, but basically dipping beneath the lows here, right? And I mean, if this were to be the case, this is going to be the moment that I will sell my house. I will sell my car. I will sell, as you know, many things that I have to buy Bitcoin, right? There is kind of this macro bearish case scenario, especially when you do zoom out on the higher time frames, you know, basically on the weekly time frame, when you go to the BLX chart and take a look at the price action from Bitcoin during the last, you know, over 10 years, thinking that we've been in a macro bullish trend. I mean, I don't really think that this is the case, but it's something that we obviously need to take into consideration. It doesn't make too much sense. I mean, the rule here about Elliott wave theory is that the third wave cannot be the smallest wave. And you know, it's very, very complex here. You know, is this one wave right there, or is all of this one hyped wave from the first few years of Bitcoin based on volatility? And this was the second wave right there. This is the third, fourth, and fifth. Fifth is smaller than the third wave, so you could arguably discuss that it's a valid count. As long as the third wave is not the smallest, then it's a valid count, right? So what if this is right now, you know, a macro bearish case scenario? And it wouldn't be too bad because, you know, it will be maybe up to 2025, 2026, right? It wouldn't be too bad, but it's in timing, it should be in between beginning of 25, end of 25. With all the ETFs coming out, we know what happened to gold when the ETF was launched. Just a few years after, it did, you know, over a 400% pump. Bitcoin is gaining traction. There's more wallets every single day. We have the halving. There's going to be less supply. You know, it's like a really, really hard scenario to happen, right? You know, will the institutions let the price of Bitcoin dip beneath $15,000 because they want to be buying all the way down? I know they will be buying. So it's just like the most extreme bearish case scenario. I had to share it here with you as well, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕. You know, this would be the ultimate extreme bearish case scenario that is really improbable in my opinion, but something, you know, to take into consideration. I will be happy. I don't live of my Bitcoin. Bitcoin's in the portfolio. It can go up, it can go down, it can go in circles. I don't care. I live based on trading and, you know, other income sources that I have. But if we were to come down to 10,000, you know, sub $15,000, wow, this is going to be such a great buying opportunity. I would only be excited if that were to be the case, you know, because I would stack up, you know, quite a lot more Bitcoin. Anyway, just something I wanted to share right there, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, with you.
Definitely. Yeah. That's where you buy a tent and you sell your house.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So I don't think that's going to be the case because there's too many macro bullish, you know, events happening, you know, during 2024 and for the future, and we can see it on-chain analysis as well. The amount of wallets that are being created every single week is always hitting an all-time high. So there's people creating wallets, you know, and buying more Bitcoin. Wallets with more than 0.1 Bitcoin, more than 1 Bitcoin is growing consistently during the week. So it's like in ETFs as well. Yeah, of course, short time frame. You know, we can see the ETFs. There's been a sell-off on the ETF launch. You know, I sold a Bitcoin. I got into short position. I could have gone heavier, but I'm more of a day trader, as you know. You know, I'm happy with these, you know, day trades. You know, I'm like really stable with the profits. Could have got into an epic short position at $48,000? Well, you know, yes and no. I was happy just with that day trade short. So short time frame ETF, bit of a sell, the news event, but on the macro, I mean, looking for the next, you know, 1, 2, 3 years ahead of us, it's just going to be absolutely insane in my opinion.
Yes.
𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, how about, you know, I know you have some things. I know you've been doing some altcoin analysis as well. You know, I feel bad because on my live stream, I'm always, you know, checking out the comment section. I'm like always looking to see, you know, I can see Mark Dirch. He's one of my moderators here. Thanks for joining, by the way, Mark. Aditya as well. Legends, Carl Rugen, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. It is uncommon for a wave 3 to be shorter. Yeah, that is true. It is true. It is uncommon to be shorter. I mean, usually you don't have a third wave shorter than wave 1 and wave 5. But, you know, as long as wave 3 is not the shortest of the 5 waves, then it's still a valid count. It's still a valid count. So that's why it wouldn't make too much sense, like the chart that I just shared on the macro. It just, with all the bullish things happening, but it's just something to say, hey, Bitcoin has been going up in several waves during the last 10 years. What if we are getting into a macro bear market, which just imagine that this was the top, right, at $48,000. The top was when the ETF was launched, right, for the next coming years. It's just, maybe it is. You know, we just need to see how the price action develops in the next coming months. But anyway, much respect. Only smart people look at both sides of the coin. Hey, yes, always. Traders such as myself and 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, we are always looking at the bullish and the bearish case scenario. We will have a favorite, of course, that being bullish or bearish, but we always need to see, you know, both scenarios and manage risk very, very well. Yeah, really not much demand here on altcoins. I can see on the comment section. DeVault. So I'm going to go straight to you to ask, hey, you know, what altcoins have you been looking at during the last few days or last few weeks, right? Which are the ones that you're trading? Which are the ones that you're analyzing? And, you know, before we go through that, guys, I want to let you know that on Bybit right now, and of course, Bybit is my favorite trading platform, you do get $20 if you deposit $100. I spoke to the team. They got me this deal. No one has this deal at the moment that I know. And with the link down below in the description, you got it in the pinned comment as well, okay? It's only going to be for the first 25 users. I know there's a lot of small fish out there. Hey, just by depositing $100, you are getting $20 at the rewards hub. So you got $120 in total to trade with, okay? Make sure to take advantage because this is only going to be available till Sunday, guys. Anybody that is not trading on Bybit yet, you get $20 just by depositing $100, guys. Sorry for that cutoff, DeVault. Had to mention this because I've been speaking to the team saying, hey, I got a deal for you, you know, and I'm like, okay, cool. Deal for the community. Bring it on. DeVault, altcoins that you're looking at.
I also like Bybit, by the way. One of my favorite exchanges. I like the user interface. The fact that you can move your stop loss and your entries around really makes it easier. And I'm not going to mention names of other exchanges, but when you have to type out things, it really frustrates me, especially when you're scalping. You know, you want to be in and out, move things around, be quick about it, apply good risk management. You type the number wrong, it liquidates your bloody account. Anyway, let's crack on.
Yeah, I mean, I was using 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗃𝗧 quite a lot, but I'm not using it as much because, I mean, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗃𝗧 just a few months ago had 0.01 taker fee, which was ridiculous. It was basically nothing. The fees have gone up quite a lot.
Oh, that's amazing.
I remember, you know it because you are in the community, and it's like, guys, we need to take advantage of this because we're going to scalp like maniacs because I get stopped out at break even many times. And of course, you know, when the fees are high, you can pay quite a bit chunk of fees if you get stopped out, you know, 2 times or 3 times during the day at break even though it's break even. And when it's 0.01 taker fee, I was like, guys, let's trade a 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗃𝗧 for a few months till the fees go up again. So now they're almost the same as Bybit. So, you know, I'm sticking to Bybit. I know Bybit is a great platform. So I'm sticking to Bybit for the moment. I know some people cannot trade on Bybit, and you know, there's other alternatives, of course. And you have 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗃𝗧, you have BingX. You got the links down below. You'll be getting the greatest bonus that there is available on there, guys. No KYC required. DeVault, altcoins. Because I'm not sure if a lot of people are interested in altcoins at the moment as Bitcoin is going down, or maybe they are very interested, you know, because, you know, we know that altcoins usually drop a little bit more when Bitcoin's in a downtrend. Some of them hold quite nicely. Anyway, I want, you know, if you have been doing some analysis on some altcoins, you know, the ones that you have been trading, you know, projections that you have, technical analysis, predictions, important levels that we need to pay attention, let us know because my community, all the bulls get wrecked. I'm reading here in the comment section. Yeah, if you do have some altcoins, please share them and we'll go through that.
Perfect. I do have some of my favorites and I'm not married to any one of them. And let's share my chart and go through a couple of them.
Let's go. I'm excited. Let's see what you got for us here.
Let me add that. Okay, cool. So this is obviously Bitcoin, and from a trading perspective, I mainly also just trade Bitcoin. But you know, you like to throw a wild card in there sometimes and add to your spot bags to build up your alt portfolio as well. One of my favorites, and not my most favorite, one of my favorite, and I'll get to my most favorite coin just now, is Solana. Okay. So
nice.
Trading altcoins, I use a different trading strategy. So I really enjoy swing failure patterns on Bitcoin, and I really enjoy trend lines, simple trend lines on altcoins, because I've just had great success with them. I've made lots of profit and I've applied good risk management, and they've just been really good to me. Maybe trend lines love me. Okay, so when you look at the price of Solana, and we can zoom in here a little bit just to say that, you know, we broke this after the bull run, we consolidated, great accumulation zone. We broke out 400% to the upside. Okay. And how I traded this, purely, a little bit of education, is to say that, from a trend line perspective, you can see that I've been tracking this momentum here to the downside, anticipating the breakout, which didn't happen, but we didn't come back down here. And then we broke out of this trend. And then on the way up, I just, trend line, breakout, ride the momentum up, target always being the high. Okay, and you leave some of the position open. And then when you form a new trend line, you add. That's what I do. I add to the position and your target being the high. So nice little trade, nice little trade, nice little trade. And where we are right now, we have now lost this trend to the upside. Okay, so, breakout traders, what they would do is they would now short this area, potentially add to their bags. From a retest perspective, we now have two diagonals acting as resistance. And, for a failure to happen, you basically want to see us break out and back into this trend for continuation to the upside. Okay. But also, people often ask me, what makes you a successful trader? The number one thing is obviously risk management. If you do not apply risk management and you go 20x all your capital in one trade every time, a couple of stop losses, your account will be empty. So it's all about good risk management, risking 1 to 3% of your capital, low leverage, especially on altcoins because they move so aggressively, is to say that, well, now when I take the bigger structure into perspective from wave 2 to wave potential 3, where we are right now, I want to see us, from a FIP perspective, bounce on either the 382, which we've lost. And it looks like we broke down. We're now retesting it. That's what it looks like at the moment. Yeah. But we do have some major support that we're currently bouncing on at the moment. And I think that support is also in confluence with these lows over here. Okay, so you really want to see us, for bullish momentum to the upside, you want to see us hold this support. Perhaps a couple of fake outs, and then you get the continuation to the upside. Okay, losing the support, obviously flipping it into resistance, you consolidating below, you break down. And usually the fall down is a lot more aggressive than climbing the stairs. You climb the stairs and you fall out the window. That's usually what it happens when.
Always works like that. Everybody's rushing to sell, and hey, I didn't have any time to sell because everything dropped so fast. So yeah.
Definitely. So I think for me, from a spot perspective, not leverage trading, from a spot perspective, these to me are great load up zones if we do get here. Okay, we are here at the moment, 618, even the 786. As we fall, that's where you add a little bit. Don't add green candles, add red candles, or in my case, purple candles. Yeah. And then from a larger time scale perspective, it kind of looks like maybe this is a big one wave to the upside, 2, 3, and then you just explode to the moon, depending on, obviously what Bitcoin's going to do as well. So I'm looking for a big wave 1 over here. And the deepest correction for 2, if this is a 2 over here, is the 786. When you start tapping the 0.88, any move away from it becomes corrective. So ideally, you want to tap the 618, the golden pocket between the 786 and the 618. So this is kind of, and also just tracking this momentum to the downside. Set your alarm, put your alarms on. Get a SMS, get an email notification. And if you would like to know more about how do you actually trade the trend line, what are some of the rules that you can apply to avoid fake outs and apply good risk management, as always, please come and join us in the Discord community. And so, yeah, Solana, Andy, definitely one of my favorites. And my most favorite altcoin is Rune. I just love Rune. This is my biggest spot bag from an altcoin perspective. And I just fell in love with this coin when it got launched, and the Vikings and the runes, and it just has that rustic feel to it, and the fundamentals around it is also amazing. And also, very similar price action to Solana, where we lost the trend. Okay, we broke down. For shorters, you want to buy the retest, and now we're finding continuation to the downside. And you can see I use trends to track the momentum, and then you can start adding your Fibonacci's from the low to the high to identify possible bouncing areas. And you can see we have quite good support here in the golden zone. You know, the altcoins love the golden zone. The golden zone is between the 618 and the 786. And you can see in confluence with the highs that we've made over here. Okay. So definitely I will be scooping up more room from a spot bag perspective if we get here to the $3.3 range. Okay. Obviously, I've also got my alarm set just to see, you know, if we do prematurely break out and then off to the races we go. And then, you know, there's also some trading opportunities from a leverage perspective, depending on what time frame you trade. But I'm just going through high level. I'm sticking here on the 8 hour, just going through high level, showing everyone how easy it is to use trend lines as a trading strategy. And, you know, obviously with good risk management, you can make it a profitable strategy. You know, I know you, Andy, I've seen traders trade Elliott waves, which in my mind is the most difficult trading strategy out there. I don't trade Elliott waves. I use it as another layer of confluence, or to see, is there momentum to the downside or is there momentum to the upside? But I don't trade Elliott waves. Because you can make trading as difficult or as easy as you want to make it, and it needs to suit your personality and your style. For me, I love trend lines on altcoins. And then I use different trading strategies on Bitcoin because it's more mature, it has a bigger market cap, it respects levels a lot more. For example, you will see on altcoins, I don't have daily and weekly and monthly levels because it generally does not respect those levels as well as Bitcoin. And you get wicked out when you try and play swing failure patterns, for example, on high leverage capital. Okay.
That is correct. I mean, this is the whole main reason why 90% of my trading is based on Bitcoin. You know, and if you want volatility, you know, just go to the 1 minute time frame, do a scalp, right? If you want, you know, Bitcoin does move on average at least a few $100s a day, right? So, and it does, like you said, Bitcoin respects the levels so much better than altcoins. You know, the moment I haven't got that much good win rate on altcoins than on Bitcoin. So why would I win, lose, win on Bitcoin and go to altcoins and win, lose? You know, it's like, it's just, for me, it's the profits are made in Bitcoin. I've been testing out altcoins. They do not respect my style of analysis and trading. So, you know, like I said, you know, 90% of my trading is purely based on Bitcoin. I mean, you only need one asset that you can actually see that it respects your style of trading to make gains, you know, every single month. Because altcoins, it has to be very obvious. You know, I do share a few altcoins in the Legends community once in a while, but not much. When I see it very, very clear, of course, you know, that is when I'll share it and saying, hey, you know, I'm getting into a long here, or I'm shorting here. You know, this is a strong level. It has to be very, very clear. And the clearest ones that, you know, that happened a few months ago was obviously Polkadot, you know, and many other ones that were actually getting in that squeezed descending wedge, and they started popping out, you know, in between November and December. But it has to be very, very clear for me to trade altcoins. Yeah.
Yes, Andy, and then, you know, I can go through 20 others as well, but I have a wild card, and perhaps, you know, I can ask you in the community, what do you think? You know, I have CRV.
CRV.
And yeah, I've just tried to work out where the C wave can go, but I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with CRV. It's part of the Ethereum ecosystem. I think it's a DAO.
Yeah, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕. Yeah, 𝗕𝗬. Yeah, is the
𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬.
So when purely from a technical perspective, even not knowing what the fundamentals are about, is that when you go onto the daily time frame, I mean, look at this. Okay, we came out of a bull market,
and this chart, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, I feel like buying some of this coin, not knowing what it is, just by looking at the chart. Anyway, I had to break you there here for a second. That actually looks pretty good. That dip, you know, looks pretty good.
So
anyway,
the one thing that, you know, and I feel like kind of the odd one out is that I've been telling even some family members, buy, because you see Solana, you see Rune, you see all these altcoins go 400, 500%. And when you put things into perspective and you zoom in a little bit, you know, just to give you an idea, where's my brush? Solana is over here.
Yeah, as in percentage growth, you mean? Yeah.
Even from the pivots. So when you start comparing time frames and you see where, from a Fibonacci perspective, where Solana is, and then, you know, it gets quite scary from where price is right now to get to where Solana is right now, you know, and we can be very conservative. Even here, you're looking at 583%, you're looking at 700%. So I'm anticipating and building a spot position for the potential bull market that lies ahead. And you know, I don't care if it goes lower, because I'm just adding to my spot bags, but it just looks so juicy. So this is definitely a wild card that I'm looking at, is to say that, well, if you now zoom into where we are right now, we've now lost this trend, okay? And people are like, oh God, sell, 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 sell. But perhaps, you know, it will be as simple as, for me, a double bottom. Perhaps we go and make a nice little double bottom for that explosive breakout to the upside. And we have strong support over here. So anything in this support area for me is, you know, buy a tent and sell your house type of scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've heard about 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗪. It's a very interesting project on the Ethereum blockchain. And it's the thing is about these good altcoin projects, they look like they're just going to die or go to zero when you get these drops. And it's just, they always bounce at some point. They will always bounce at some point. So especially when you got that, you know, green box, which was the lows also from, was it 2022 possibly? When you zoom out, right? Or even even earlier, right? Yeah, this is 2020.
25 October. Yeah.
Yeah,
2020.
yeah. Crazy. Yeah. I've seen many other ones, such as Chainlink, actually hitting the highs of 2019, which is pretty crazy. That's where Chainlink basically bottomed out. You know, I think it was 2019 or 2020, which is around about the $5 range. And I was screaming to my community, because I have a huge bag of Chainlink. Obviously, my community do know. I was like, guys, you know, $5 in is an absolute steal. If it does dip beneath $5 to $4, you know, it's just a major level, such strong macro level, just like 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗪 here, looking at those lows from 2020. That is just a great opportunity, in my opinion. And then, yeah, Bitcoin, you know, currently is trading around about $13 today, but it did go all the way up above $15 just the last few weeks. So anyway, a 3x, you know, we need to be happy with a 3x in just a few months, right? So yeah, anyway, so you are actually accumulating some of CRV, right?
Yeah, so I'm accumulating CRV, and I mean, I'm not shilling it in any way. I don't know what the fundamentals are. I'm not, you know, I don't want the community to think that I'm shilling anything. Not at all. Purely from a technical perspective, is when I look at ETH BTC, you know, double bottom, and I think you spoke about this last night as well, Andy, is when you see a nice little breakout like this, we lost the bull flag over there, but potentially a beautiful retest. And also, you know, even if we had to come down here, it does look that the ETH to BTC is going to find that breakout at some point to the upside, where the ETH ecosystem is going to explode. And it feels like so many other altcoins and layer ones have had their time in the sun. And Ethereum is still lagging behind. And the reason CRV hasn't run yet, because it's part of this Ethereum ecosystem. But once this puppy here takes off, you know, you want to be in an Ethereum ecosystem coin. You want to have ETH in your bags. You want to have CRV. You want to have, you know, 𝗖𝗍 and all these other layer ones that's built on the Ethereum network. And, you know, this is basically the play for me, is to say that, well, even if we dip here, you know, adding to your spot bags, and we play it very conservatively, and we come down and we make a low, and let's say your average entry is over here, to come and claim these little highs over here, you're looking at 131%, you're looking at 185%. You do not have to add leverage. This is spot. I mean, this is significant gains from a spot perspective. You don't have to add leverage. You're going to get yourself wrecked, because these things move when they move. And they, you know, if you have a 20x leverage on your entire account, you're going to get liquidated with, you know, in 2 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, crypto is just such it's another game, you know, because you get some other OGs that are investing in shares, and they'll be like, hey, my shares are up 10%, this year. And it's like, holy moly, I've got some altcoins that are up, 300% this year, right? So yeah, the game of crypto is just I really enjoy it. Of course, the downside is the issue, right? The downside is where people panic. I remember buying back in, my first Bitcoin. I bought it in 2018 with an average price of $7,000. And, when we had that dip in December of 2018, which almost hit $3,000, it hit around about 3,200. I remember that day like if it was yesterday. You can see, my Bitcoin cut in half, but I was still buying, right? But those hits in crypto are just so powerful. And I'm ready. If we need to go down, bring it on, baby. We are going down. If we were to go down to $10,000, I'm really not going to be worried. I've been here through this before. It will be scary. It'll be like, oh my goodness, this time is different, right? We are going down during, the halving, and we're going down to 10K. Honestly, I don't think it's going to happen. It is not going to happen very likely, but who knows?
I think probability-wise, for now, the bullish momentum is
stronger.
Stronger. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For now. And cool. I'm not sure if you want to jump into the community, say hi.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go through the comment section, say hello. And guys, I think, most of you might know, but 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕 has been a coach for the last few months in the Legends community. He provides analysis, setups, education every single day, guys. And if you want to join the community where we do provide every single day those updates, you also have the link down below in the description, okay, of this YouTube video. It's called the Legends Trading Community. It is the 4th link down below. Just if you want some more education, more analysis every single day, you have it down, guys. Now, let's go right away with the comment section. Okay, let's see if we do see an interesting altcoin, and we can do a little bit of TA on demand before we finalize the stream here. I can see Mark Dirch always giving insane support here. Curve had some financial difficulties, he says. They arranged a loan with 𝗕𝗏𝗃 in September 2023. So yeah, maybe fundamentally you probably see a little bit of difficulties, but I think they will pick up. They've been quite a solid project, and I think they'll do pretty well in the bull run. Is it going to go down or up in your opinion? Up or down in your opinion, says Nightfall. I guess you are talking about Bitcoin. Is it going to go down or up? Well, we can do some short time frame analysis. What do you think about that, _𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕? I'll let you. Yeah, let's focus on Bitcoin, and forget about the altcoins for the moment. Nobody's talking about altcoins anyway in the comment section, but let's focus on, because that is where I make, that's where I make my gains on Bitcoin. And why not do, a low time frame analysis, whether that is the 1 hourly, 15-minute time frame. I'm going to let you start off, with the levels. What do you see? Possibilities. And then I'll end up with my analysis. So then the community has a little bit of 2 points of views here on Bitcoin short-term analysis. So I'll leave it to you, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕.
And the one thing that me and Andy always agree on before I dive in is that it is so nice when our analysis don't align, because it is your style of trading, and it's not about getting the analysis right. It's about how you exercise good risk management. Perhaps my analysis is completely different from Andy's. Don't stress, it's all a game of probabilities, but let's dive into it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it has happened not many times, but it has happened in the Legends community, because we both provide analysis as coaches, obviously, and it has happened a couple of times, not many, but it has happened. You are a little bit more bullish, and I was leaning maybe a bit more bearish at certain areas, but we clearly explain how our invalidation points, right? There's clear levels of invalidation on a chart, and that is where we come together. As in, if we break this level, then obviously I'll flip bearish, or if we break that level, I'll switch bullish. So But the opinion on both of us being, you know, one bearish and one bullish, it doesn't usually happen. But it's good to happen, because then you obviously got, you know, the points of view of you know, two people, obviously.
Okay.
Anyway,
So,
diving on you.
thanks, Andy. So before I make the chart messy, you know, I always judge a good trader by how clean his chart is. Okay, it's like a good chef's food tastes great in a clean kitchen. You know, when you're walking there and there's rats on the floor, you don't want to eat there. So let's dive into it. So from a simplicity perspective, I've got some point of controls. Point of control of this range over here, point of control of the entire range, and then a previous day point of control over here, which is most probably from this range over here. Okay. Without going into much detail, what I'm kind of seeing is we had a major point of control of the entire bull cycle. And I think, you know, everyone by now should know where that level comes from. For those that has been following Andy's show, the 2020 bull market has a major point of control. And just below it, there's also a weekly point of control. But without getting too complicated, is to say that, well, when you start zooming into this little time frame, and we can go into the 15-minute, I explained this in my YouTube video yesterday as well, and my analysis to our community is to say that, you know, when you fall, there's fear. You know, oh, we're going to $30,000. You know, it's just, it plays on people's emotions. And then I said, when we get down here, I want to see a consolidation. It's a sign that the price is slowing down. You know, you don't want to see this. And then obviously it's just going to continue down. You want to see price slow down. And this is a perfect SFP strategy that you could have played here, is to say price is consolidating, it's slowing down. And when you get acceptance back above the level, that's where you enter. Okay, I think I did play this trade. My entry was a little bit higher. But nevertheless, I was also, because I love trend lines, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬 and his bloody trend lines, is I was also tracking this momentum to the downside. Is to say that, well, and in my update, I also said we must probably going to have a fake out before the real breakout happens. And then what happened is we had a fake out, we consolidated above, showing strength, and then we had the breakout to the upside, okay, with some nice green volume coming in. And then, you know, depending on what's going to happen over here, you know, we do have another trend that connects these highs. And I think the interesting thing about the trend, Andy, is that when you start aligning the trends with your horizontals and your daily levels, you can see where they meet up for extra confluence as well. Is to say that, well, if we do have to get up here, you know, you want to see how we're going to react, not just to the trend, but to this point of control. Because if we break out here and we SFP from the point of control, you've got your breakout traders and your retail traders going, yeah, we're going to the moon. And you've got experienced traders like me and you and the community saying, okay, well, we've SFP'd. We must probably going to break that. We're going to break back down and find support here, perhaps for continuation, or find momentum to the downside. And perhaps come and retest this area again. And it's all a game of probability. So you want to see us climb the stairs. So when I now make my chart a little bit more messy, so to take the scribble out the way, and I switch on some daily levels, some weekly levels, monthly point of controls. Okay, now it gets interesting, is to say that, okay, we have some dailies on top and we have a point of control. So perhaps one scenario that I'm watching is to say that we can come up here. We need to hold this previous naked weekly and daily level for momentum to the upside. And at the moment, we like chopping through it, potentially building up a spring for momentum to the upside, where we now need to go and contend with this trend and the point of control. So you need to observe the price reaction over here. Okay, but you want to climb the stairs. So perhaps you break out, you consolidate, you reject, you test, you break out, you consolidate, you know, climbing the stairs, building a nice little trend to the upside. So the one scenario that I am watching is to say that potentially there is so much liquidity between where we are right now and $44,000, okay, is that I would love for us to come and grab all of this beautiful liquidity for potentially a rejection here, where we have a weekly level and a point of control together with a daily level, quite strong resistance here, for then that healthy, deeper correction to the downside. I mean, look at this.
Yeah, the amount of liquidity that there is, right? There's hundreds of millions, if not over $1 billion, or even a couple of billion by now, of liquidity from short positions built up at 42, 43 plus $1,000. Will we go down to $35,000 before, claiming that liquidity? Or, like you said as well on the daily update, could we hit the lows right there that we formed on Tuesday, basically yesterday? Yeah, can we tap that low first? Because there is a little bit of liquidity here below $38,000, right? Yeah, there could be below $39,000, sorry. There could be just a quick double bottom. There could be another macro double bottom instead of that small double bottom that we had yesterday, which, I also longed that level. Could the price roll down from here? I was talking about an inverted head and shoulder that broke out nicely with price action, but there was hardly any volume at all as well on the breakout on the lower time frames. And it just not, it's kind of holding. Yeah, this kind of, inverted head and shoulder. It's kind of there. It's playing around. It's wicking. It's consolidating. I mean, it is holding. There's no doubt that there is a possibility of continuation to the upside. But I'm just kind of aware of, if it is a fake out, if we start moving down below here with a bit of red volume, in the next coming hours, then obviously it will be a fake out. But I will be checking that low from yesterday. I want that low to be claimed before I take a long position. If we start dropping down now, so basically go down to 39.7, 39.5, 39.2, I wouldn't be interested in a pullback, me personally. If we start moving down aggressively now, I would rather the lows from yesterday to be taken to see if we're going to see a more macro double bottom. That is, for me, the level of interest, basically the 38,700 range, those lows from yesterday. And to the upside, that point of control that you have, it's the naked point of control from Monday. Yeah, this is very interesting level because it's also in confluence with some Fibonacci's from that lower high created on Sunday or Saturday. Basically that, exactly, around about from that range, because that's a new entire impulse down, and that 618 is just spot on that naked point of control. So like you said, possible fake out from that lower high resistance trend line and then roll back down. But what is disturbing is the amount of liquidity that there is above $42,000. So it's going to be, if Bitcoin just starts, tackling that level, it might just break through and pump $1,000, $1,500 and just start, going to those levels of liquidity. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to play the game on the charts.
And I suppose, from a bullish perspective, this is the most bullish scenario I have for now, is to say that we find continuation to the upside. Perhaps we reject here. And then when you zoom out, you are forming that beautiful lower high for then continuation to the downside. The other scenario that I'm keeping in mind is to say that, well, what if, okay, take the brush out, is I see some Elliott traders out there are calling this a leading diagonal to the downside, where you basically have, grab that, where you basically have a 1, 2, 3, we're busy with the fourth wave, and the rule for a leading diagonal is you're not allowed to touch the top of the channel.
Right.
Okay. So your fourth wave has to be there. And then you go and test the bottom of the channel, which is there by the $37,000 level. And I mean, both me and you, Andy, know that there is strong support by the $30,000 level. Is to say, another scenario is, as you said, we reject here and we come and we do a fifth wave for then grabbing the liquidity to the upside and then only correcting.
No doubt that I have very much, I'm interested in longing that 37,700. Of course, it can be very quick and it can be a very nasty wick. These big movements to the downside, of a couple of $1,000, when they move, the faster they move down to a major level of support, the faster the bounce is as well. I've seen moves down, during the last few months where the Bitcoin price drops $4,000, but the bounce is about $2,000. And it's difficult. I know a lot of people do struggle with these kind of trades because it's kind of trying to catch a falling knife. But what I like to explain to the people is at such a strong level, in this case, where you have the daily, the weekly naked point of control, basically that 37,700. As long as the price is beneath that level, I will not be interested in getting into the long position. But as we wick down and start wicking above it, is the moment I could snipe a long position, right, and be quite defensive as I am the profit with the bounce. They're very, very complex, you know, and I know a lot of people do not know how to trade them successfully, but definitely a level to take into consideration where prices are very likely going to bounce from that level. In my opinion, I would be definitely interested in trading that level for sure.
Yeah, so am I. That's
right.
That's basically the analysis from my side, Andy. And I mean, obviously, if we touch, for me, probabilities increase. If we touch the top of the channel, it means that this momentum is most likely, all a game of probabilities, going to continue up here to grab all of that liquidity. So it's either this or it's either this that I'm seeing at the moment.
I mean, very similar point of view that I have also. And if we do go up there to 43,500 plus, it's a moment that I will be extremely cautious. You know, I won't be bullish. We're going to see a lot of people starting to be very bullish if we do get this momentum in the coming days to above 43,500. We're going to see it everywhere. Hey, this is it. This was the correction. You know, we're going to the moon from now. We're going to break above the highs created, okay, in January, which is above $49,000. I really see a lower high being formed if we were to hit above 43, you know, even $44,000. You know, it might reach $45,000, but it's basically on the structure of the bullish structure that we formed during the last few months. As this is a confirmation of a lower low here, that with this movement down to $39,000 on the macro, it is, you know, technically a lower low. So I don't know. I'm enjoying it. This is good fun. I love trading. I love analyzing, and we're gonna have to see what is the behavior in the next coming, you know, hours, basically hours, days, weeks. So, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, you know, we're gonna wrap it up because we've been more than an hour and 10 minutes here, and it's been a great, you know, first time you on my channel doing analysis on Bitcoin and a few altcoins. We haven't gone much through the comment section. However, I will leave that for my live streams. I mean, this was a kind of a great interview, getting to know who you are, your experience, your analysis, telling the community that, you know, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕 is a coach in the Legends community on Discord, right? Where you do provide analysis every single day. And you have done your own channel as well. You need to check him out, guys. He provides analysis every single day. You got the first link down below in the description, okay? Let me just share that with you right away, okay? Down below, you have the first link that is follow 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕 analysis every day on his YouTube channel, guys. He only made this YouTube channel just a few weeks ago, right? And I know that, you know, if the community wants to learn more every single day, you know, a fast path is watching you. So guys, thank you very much for joining the stream. I might do another live stream afterwards because I know there's a lot of comments here, and I don't like leaving without reading the comments, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, because I feel bad. I'm here as well for the community, but this has been basically it's, you know, all about you on this interview, sharing your analysis, your point of view on the macro, your experience. So thank you very much for joining the channel. We will be doing more collaborations in the near future. So yeah, anyway, thank you, 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, and I will see you very soon.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it. Keep well and enjoy the rest of the week.